Hello, everybody. Volf here, coming to you live, looking like I manage a bank or play golf with your dad. Whatever. Guys, new patch notes are out, which is cool. So I'm gonna go over them. Also, as a friendly reminder, if you don't have plans on Valentine's Day, I always have videos uploaded on my channel, so feel free to check some of them out. If you enjoy this video or any of my other stuff, or just liked my bank joke, please drop a like and sub, as I'd appreciate it. And beyond that, let's get into it. So, this is cool. They're trying to increasingly improve the translations of the languages in the game. So if you speak multiple languages, anything beyond English, and you want to help translate, looks like they're looking for help. So that'd be cool. New expedition is here. Let's see. I'm gonna zoom this in. I'm gonna zoom this in a little bit for you. New expedition has arrived. So there's the day 9 expedition. This one's day 6. It's a UFO. It's got a bunch of cool stuff, a bunch of cool art and whatnot. Um, it's the Outland, which, I believe, yeah, Hellbilly lives there. Crystal-based UFO. That's cool. Art is sick. And yeah, day 6. Now, notably, day 6 is very interesting because typically day 6 is kind of like your power spike day in the sense that that's when gold items spawn. So missing day 6 is kind of a big deal. I will say, in terms of rewards, the expedition kind of accounts for that. You get a lot of gold. There's some very powerful, unique items, stuff like that. So I wouldn't say, like, if you're playing Stelle, who historically doesn't like to go to the, day 9 expedition, but also like day 6 on Stelle has historically been her large item day. I think it feels fine in the limited number of games I've played with it, but we'll see. New cosmetics, they're all beautiful, including the Crash Site board, which is gorgeous, the 67 album, which brain rot, and a lot of other just cool cosmetics coming in, and they're limited time only, which is new. But yeah, I like all of them, and I'm not just saying this for the sake of saying this. If I didn't like the cosmetics, I wouldn't say anything. I really do think they look quite good. So yeah, see prize pass, new cosmetics, cool. Just like every other month, there's always 2 free things in the prize pass, unless that changes, of course. But level 20 reward, level 40 reward, and new chest editions. What I think this means is that you can get kind of the, I guess, like shiny items or the shiny art skins in chests. So I assume that's what they mean. So now there's a few more ones for Stelle, Jules, and Vanessa. And here's some leaderboard rewards. If you finish the top 1,000, 100, top 10, you get a little thing. I really was trying to finish top 100. It just did not pan out for me last season. Also, I just don't know if I'm that guy to try hard that much. But I will be, repping my Utarian Elite little thing. So if you guys had that, that's cool too. Or maybe something to strive for future seasons, if that's still a thing, which I think it will be. Travel Agent, brand new encounter, sells expedition tickets. It's a diamond encounter, so it's pretty rare. The expedition tickets don't cost 20 anymore. Like they used to cost 20 on the old aerodrome. I believe now they cost like 12, maybe sell for 6. I could be mistaken. So that'll be interesting, right? Because if you're gonna have travel ticket, especially on like day 2, 12 gold's a lot. So you got to make it affordable. Like imagine if it was 20. Random hero. Now you can just hit the box and you can just play random heroes. I kind of wish it was. First of all, I think it's a really nice change. Definitely like a fun change. If you're a streamer, I feel like it's a fun thing. Even if, I mean, you don't have to be a streamer. It's enjoyable, but just something new every game. I wish it was a little more selective. Like I would play random hero, but probably check off like Pig and Mac maybe. But maybe I just play a lot of random hero this season and see how high we can get. Because that'd be cool, just make it diverse. Cosmetic loadouts are now safe per hero. Before you would select 1 round of cosmetics, and that would be everything you have. I feel like I didn't explain that well. So let's say I select Stelle album, and then I want to play Vanessa. Or I'm playing Stelle, I select the Stelle album, then I play Vanessa. I still have the album checked, even then. So it's like now per hero, you can select it, which is really nice because I like different stuff for hero. I like to feel like kind of thematic with what I'm doing. Also, the loadouts can now be randomized. Repair. So repair is a Stelle thing for now. We will have to see if it becomes available on other heroes, but I think some of the crash items have it as well. Basically, what it does is something gets destroyed, you can repair it, which kind of just like brings it back to life. I'm not exactly sure how some of the nuances of that work. For example, let's say something's like halfway through its cooldown and it gets destroyed. When it gets restored, does it start at 0 cooldown? Does it start at half again? I don't really know. 6 brand new style items, mostly focusing around her repair mechanic. There's two like small repair guys, one that starts at bronze, one that starts at gold. They kind of do different things. Experimental Garage is a new gold large. Uh, Salvage Yard is a new silver large that gives you decent econ. It gives you like scrap every day, but also it works well with kind of like your destroy repair boards. And then Boosted Saucer is a nice little payoff UFO, cool looking thing that works with destroy as well. I guess I could probably like nah, it's alright. Also, if you guys remember back in the day when fiery and toxic scaling, it used to be 10% of the targeted outputs effect instead of 5, and they nerfed it. I think this is a good change. I think it felt really, really bad when you had something like I don't know, like fiery cutlass, for example, or like any fiery or toxic weapon. It just did not translate the damage well at all. It felt horrible, and it just way too weak. And so now maybe those enchants are good on weapons again. We'll have to see, but just before it didn't feel good. And I'm sure there will be some outlier items that this is still too strong on. Then they go back to 5%, but I think this is the right change. Shield as well. This is honestly, this is not the sexiest change of the patch. This is probably one of the most, I guess, like meta defining whatever changes of this patch. And the amount of shield reduction of burn is now capped to the current value of the shield and the burn ticks. 10 burn on 10 shield or more remains the same. So basically, before what would happen is if you had any shield at all, you would remove burn damage by half. So now what happens is that if say you have like 2 shield and like 10 burn, 2 of that shield, like I think you'll reduce by half for how many shield you have. So I think you'll like counter you'll take 2 damage from 4 burn, but then still take the extra like 6 burn damage. So instead of taking I guess the 5 you would have taken, now you take like 8, I think is how that works. Anyways, so now it's not like you can't just throw a little bit of shield on to deflect big flames. You have to have like meaningful shield to counter burn, which at the same time does raise questions about how strong burn already is in the game, and is it just going to get stronger? And I think it's totally fair. We'll have to see. So maybe we see as well in the next patch a lot of burn changes. Self-destroy. Correct an issue with certain self-destroy items not counting as used for other triggers. Okay, just like a bug fix. Encounter changes. Yeah, a lot of the monsters that used to carry the jungle ticket now have a day 6 crash site ticket. I think Borear, for example, has it, but I know like Aetheryte still has a jungle ticket, I believe. So I'm not exactly sure who got switched up, but there you go. Aerodrome just changed what it does. For Billboard, Rice Baller now gives 1 cinders. Chili Charles. My best guess is like Icicle can be a very, very strong degenerate item to throw on your board, so they don't want to just give that stuff away. So cool. Throw a slushy on there. Put a chill slot on ice cubes too. It just makes the fight a little bit harder. I still think Chili Charles is usually pretty free, but whatever. Aetheryte now has a silver laser pistol, which makes her basically that does 2 things. One, it makes her have a little bit more damage, which is meaningful. Genuinely, it's noticeable. Also, it dilutes her pool. So now you're even less likely to be able to get rigged and less likely to be able to get a ticket. So it's kind of like a double nerf for drops, I would say. Like her drops are now worse, and then she's also harder, so it's harder to get those drops. Frigate has a day 9 jungle expedition ticket. I want to say it's replacing thrusters. They have two pairs of thrusters on their board, so maybe that, but also too because a lot of monsters are losing the jungle expedition ticket. It's good to throw it on a couple other ones. Joyful Jack, very strong monster, especially on Mac. You can pretty much just click it every single time you see it. So you had really 2 good chances to hit the strongest Mac skill in the game. Is that a hot take? Maybe not. I don't like play Mac, but the Joyful Jack skill is insane on Mac. And it's such a strong skill, it shouldn't show up like multiple times through your runs or the opportunity to get it. Also, Poppy Field. So, makes sense to me. Kyber Commander, they kind of nerfed the rewards last patch, I believe, last major patch. So, adding some buffs back. Also, notably, if you play Beehive on Bee or Pig, which I don't think is very strong, but if you do, and it's cooking, you have an Obsidian Bee chance, which is kind of cool. Product Demonstrator, he has Rocket Drone and Recycler Bot. So I believe Rocket Drone's an existing item, but it did get reworked. We'll see down below. Recycler Bot's a new item. Product Demonstrator actually has some fight in him now. So that's something to be mindful of. He's not like a pushover like he was. With the new items, I would say he's like fair. He's not like a pushover. I think he can mess you up if you go into it with no board. Pyro. Gained a firebomb. Cinder Silvers, now Cinder Spawns. I think that's a great change. In general, and this is my just kind of off the cuff opinion. I mean, I've thought about it, but I haven't like talked to anyone else about it. I think there is a problem sometimes with early burn stuff where you take something like Aquatic Vents or you take something like Skillet where it's multicast, early game burn item, and then you just find a bunch of ways to buff it. Especially Cinders, I think, is a really bad culprit for this because it's so easy to get Bronze Cinders or whatever. And I just think it's too ridiculous sometimes, especially like going into these shield changes. I think like Burn Pile is going to be really, really strong. So I'm glad to see stuff like this where they take Pyro and they nerf the drops a little bit. Basically, like Firebomb on Stelle, it's a decent item. Like I think it feels really good early, even though it destroys. On other heroes, how do you make use of Firebomb? So Pyro gets nerfed this way, where it's a slight kind of like almost like Aetherite in a way. Like the drops are nerfed, and then also the actual Cinders change is also good. So I think both of these are good, but in general, part of me wonders if moving away from even getting like Cinders might need to be like a silver item, unless Burn gets weaker. Is kind of like a thought. Advanced Synthetics, this is the one, yeah, when you buy this for level up, upgrade a lower tier item, makes sense. Stell's the Engineer, having, Advanced Synthetics, Carbon Fiber, that kind of thing makes sense for her. Beautiful Friendship, this is the one that I think it's whenever you use a friend, your items gain plus damage for the fight. Totally makes sense on Vanessa. She has a ton of friends. It was always like, that's a very skippable skill for a lot of heroes if you get it off the Bulldozer fight, but on Vanessa, it just makes sense. Burn Containment, I believe this has got it. Let's go a little Bazaar DB. You know, let's see what's going on. Burn containment. First time, okay. Yep. So in general, another big theme is they're gonna be nerfing all the charging skills. Charging skills in general are just busted. Even at like 4-8, they're gonna be extremely busted. Just some of the stronger effects in the game. So I don't think it's unreasonable to see a bunch of birth. I was gonna say birth. Like that's a weird thing. Buffs or nerfs. I combined buffs and nerfs. That's how we got there. To see a bunch of nerfs. So these are all just charging skills getting nerfed. Coolant leak, nerf. Coolant toxins, nerf. Deadly waters. This one is a little surprising to me because like deadly waters is your aquatic weapons have plus damage thing. If it's ever at any point too strong, it's probably bronze. So I don't really necessarily understand the nerf at like higher tiers, whatever. Desperate cleanse for all heroes, sure. Emergency drop swans for jewels. I need to check what that is. Okay, makes sense. Sure. Seems like a jewel skill. One other thing too. Let me get through these skills, and I thought of this. Charge skills. Repair mechanic, renamed from master mechanic. Now spawns for all heroes. First, 1-2 times when your items destroyed each fight, repair it. That's cool. It's also a nice little tech. Where it's like if you have a god board or something like that, and you're like, how do I lose? Maybe my items get destroyed. You have this skill. Bug fix, outmaneuver spawns for dually, charge skill nerf chart. Like it's just old nerfs. And working hard as well. It was such a disgusting skill and it spawned at silver. Makes total sense. Just any of these charge skills are very strong, and I think they'll still be very strong at 4-8. Another thing I should have done, and I didn't do, is here's all the new Stelle items. Let's see if they're in DB. DB for us. Also, I did this as a gag. I didn't actually mean for it to pop up. But, alright. Let's go experimental garage. Because, maybe you guys haven't seen the items yet. Yeah, look at this. At the start of each fight, enchant all items on both boards for the fight, and your items have their cooldowns reduced by 10 or 20%. It's a lot of cooldown, actually. So they talk about it as a disruption item. So basically, depending on what your opponent is doing, if you strip their enchants, it could honestly totally just destroy their board. And that's a lot of cooldown as well. One thing that's also notable about it is I believe it re-enchants your item. So if you have an enchanted item, it'll strip that enchantment and enchant it with something else. So yeah, including garage. So that'll be interesting. Is this shiny? Your items have +1 multi. Disgusting enchant, by the way, if you hit shiny. Let's look at recycler bot. Recycler. Repair X amount of small items depending on tier. So that's cool. Works really well, especially with. Oh, here's some new items as well. So here's some of the crash out items. Abducted cow has a cool one. Ancient specimen. I'm not gonna like read through all these. I'm just gonna kind of scroll down. Here's one of the new monsters. Here's the monster item. Boosted saucer. Here's a new Stelle item. When you repair this, gains damage. When you destroy it, charges. That's a cool. Here's another new fight. Here's what the ticket looks like. Disintegration ray. Like a bunch of cool drops and stuff. I guess it's all new. I could just go down this. Here's a drop from the expedition. Here's a skill from one of the monsters. It's all connected. Here's another skill from one of the monsters. Jerky, you get this from the cow, which is funny. When you want to fight against monsters, gains +1 max ammo. So kind of funny idea is that like you could get you could like beat Raynad and get Raynad jerky or something, which is kind of cursed, but whatever. Repair gem. So here's a new item. This is a 3-second gold, so it's another repair thing, but it repairs 1 or 2 items depending on tier. Salvage yard is another one of our new items. Repairs all your items, but at the end of each fight, get a end of each fight. I thought it was start of each day. Get a scrap. So you don't want to scrap that way. You can stack it on the salvage yard because when you destroy your shield, or you can stack it on whatever. But pretty powerful econ effect. Here's Seeker Probe as well. This is an item I think is really interesting. I don't know how to use it, but it's cool. When the enemy uses an item, this gains crit for the fight. When this crits, destroy this on a small enemy item for the fight. Also really cool because if you can repair this, maybe you can just start deleting all their small items. I didn't think about that, but that's really cool. Here's the other monster for the temple stuff. So just very cool, very cool. New hat, new item, all this stuff. New item from expedition, 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 expedition. I'm not gonna go through like every single one of these, but if you want, feel free to pause. Or there's some cool stuff. Art looks great as always. But yeah, so that's all those changes. Clockwork blades. This means nothing to me. I guess if you get it as a drop, maybe it's runnable on board. I would say the biggest change to watch out for is any monster that has clockwork blades. The one that jumps to my mind is Outland's Dervish. Might be a little bit harder now, but I don't know for sure. Insect Wing is back to bronze tier. I wonder if that means it can spawn at Curio. That I'm not sure about. So we'll see. We'll see. Junkyard Repair Bot. 5 seconds and it repairs an item. Makes sense. It's a repair bot. Another thing to watch out for is I think Rogue Scrapper gets a little bit harder now. Just because they get more healing. Almost like double healing. If this is 4 seconds, it's like double healing. So Singularity is no longer a tech type. Makes sense. I don't know. It's just like a piece of space, isn't it? I don't know. Snowflake is now back to any item of any size. For a while, they nerfed Snowflake so it couldn't hit larges. So that's undone. Dually. Chris Armor Knife gets a buff. Basically, again, the general, I think, idea of changes for the game is if an item is underperforming, we try to buff from the bottom. If an item is strong, that's okay. But if an item is like truly broken, then it needs some changes. So Chris Army Knife buffed, Claw Arm buffed. These are just underperformers. Dualtron, this one does surprise me. Like I felt like Dualtron was still pretty strong at 1800 at Diamond, but I'm sure. Like I feel like if you want to push Dualtron, I feel like you almost want to push the friend line on it, as opposed to having like Dualtron as this like fits into any board with a bunch of procs kind of thing. But Aiden gets buffed as well. I think we're back to old Aiden. Laser pistol to 4. Again, it was a horrible item at 5. Levy pad. Okay. It works the same way, but now the writing's changed. Like so here, Mech Moles, crazy overperformer. So it's getting a cooldown nerf, it's getting a damage nerf. 8 is kind of a weird number. Like I would have thought it'd be 10. I feel like 8's just an odd base number to start at. And then they reduced the scaling a little bit. We'll see if this is enough because Mech Moles has been a menace on that bit. Plasma rifle gets a buff. Could be a lot of damage. This thing can really pump early. So this does kind of scare me. I mean, it's only 5 at each rank, but scares me a little bit. Pyrocarbon redesigned. So cooldown to 6 seconds. Shields for 20, 30, 40. Haste 1, 2, 3 items for 1 second. When you burn, charges 2 seconds. That kind of makes sense. I think it was to stop the monitor lizard loops, is what I saw. I read someone read that, like, say that. I can't remember where. It's either Reddit or my Discord, which, if you're not in the Discord, you should join. But yeah, so that's interesting. And it's also just good for burn boards, I think. Like, you can run this with Ignition Core, and it's a cool way to just throw haste around your board. Interesting. Tesla coil, starts at bronze, cooldown, and damage buff. Interesting. Let me double check my Tesla coil thing. My Tesla coil knowledge. Boom. Tesla coil. When you use an adjacent tech, charges 2 seconds. Oh, interesting. Wait, that's kind of disgusting, isn't it? Charge your non-tech items. Wait, the thing. I feel like this thing's gonna pump, dude. Is that wrong? Like the base damage is pretty good. You put it next to core or something. Like, is this thing not gonna pump a little bit? I don't know. We'll see. And it's all of your items. Like, charge your non-tech items once. That seems. This has the potential to be really, really busted. I feel like. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we're not worthy or ready of Tesla coil meta. And then virus again, but pretty bad item. So buff it. Caviar. All items make sense. Again, underperformers get buffs. So chef hat. When you buy this, get a small food. Cool. Stand mixer. Deadly now against double crit. Makes sense. Farmers market. Okay, bug fix. Feast, yeah, feast again. It especially like late. Like feast was a pretty good tempo item in my experience. I wasn't the foremost Jules player, but I think this makes sense to me where it's like buff the numbers a little bit. I do wonder though. It says buff it. Um, okay, interesting. So it's oh, gotcha. So the base value is always 8, I guess, and then it scales by more or less. So okay, it's 4 and 8 now as opposed to 3 and 6. I think is what that's supposed to say. Um, bug fix, gingerbread house when you use a food. Sure, so now it gets a little bit stronger because like it also goes off using itself. Hot sauce. Okay. Hot sauce might be a menace now. For each adjacent food or tool, so it's +1 multi, it was food before. It's a lot easier to activate now. We'll see. Again, when you have a multicast burn item early with lots of burn buffs, it gets a little scary. It seems reasonably good to activate. Mousetrap to silver makes sense. Mousetrap is a good just activator item, but also at bronze, it just has like no ammo at all. So why would it start at, at bronze? I don't know. Oven, bug fix, I guess. Pastry cart. Thank goodness that they okay. Like just any of her freeze builds felt so degenerate, and they still do. I think they still will, but pastry cart freezing for less is very nice. Freeze 2 items for 0.5 seconds is ridiculous. And so freeze an item for zero point 0.1, or sorry, 0.5 and 1 is a lot more reasonable. Rolling pin as well. This thing was a monster, especially early game. Tone down the scaling, tone down the base damage a little bit. Totally chill with that. Suntaku as well was just not a good item. So now it has more versatility. Also note it'll be more versatility for non-Jules heroes. So the item on the left has crit chance equal to this item's crit chance. Cool. Cool. It's like a cool way of almost like doubling your crit. Like if you have things like Keen Eye on your board, you can have the knife and then apply like the Keen Eye buff to whatever's to the left of it. And then it's like you almost like double the crit if you have like board wide crit. It's interesting. Spatula as well, not the strongest item, buff the numbers a little bit. Sushi boat also now gives you regen, which is kind of interesting. Which is cool because now like Sushi Boat itself can crit, but yeah, Sushi Boat underperformer, so give it a little more oomph, I guess. And then the Ulu now also gives adjacent items crit when hasted. Yeah, that makes sense. Like Ulu is a weird thing because it would gain like max crit very fast if you were hasting it, but it's like it just felt a little clunky. So I like this idea of like the knives making things gain crit or like having crit synergy as well, and also cool. It will fit into more non-Jules builds. Adrenal Converter gets buffs. In general, from my understanding, Adrenal Converter wasn't the strongest kind of piece from the slow line. Or sorry, not slow line, but a self-poison line. So that makes sense. Atmospheric Sampler getting nerfed. It's still a ridiculous item, but not no longer giving an item flying at the start of the fight does, I think, make it a little bit worse. Basilisk Fang, bronze tier. So more of just, it kind of does seem like a bronze tier item to me. Dragon's Breath, when you buy this, get a small burn item from your hero. Cool. It's just a good way to buff Dragon's Breath. Dragon's Breath is still an underperformer, so again, give me a reason to buy it. I guess now we have it. Earrings. Sure, so it's worse at silver, but better at high tiers. So it's basically like you use earrings, not as much. I mean, I feel like very few builds, I could be wrong, so Mac players let me know. Very few builds you were like, oh, earrings, like that's an insane amount of health gain, but usually use earrings as like a way to loop. So here it loops better at like higher tiers as opposed to giving more health. So I think that makes sense. It like becomes more meaningful of an upgrade, I guess, or like more of something you want to upgrade. So there's a cat right in front of me. Floor Spike also kind of seems like a bronze tier item. Fungal Spores, very strong early. I feel like they get wrecked by the single all the time, so make it a little bit worse. Ice Claw, underperformer, buff the numbers a little bit. So definitely better at silver and gold, and the base damage is pretty high. I mean, it is like a pretty slow item. I think is it like 9 seconds? Is that right? 7 seconds deals 60 is kind of crazy, and it scales. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. But that's some pretty high base damage, honestly, on a 7 second item. The statue gets nerfed a little bit. Makes sense. Tomi Yahan gets nerfed. Is it Waiyahan? I don't know. That makes sense. The out of combat region was pretty powerful too. Cool. Pig. Like I'm not the foremost pig expert, so this one I don't really have a say in. But if you were getting way too much gold from that level up, it makes sense. Like even if you had one property, 7 gold on a level up is not bad. 14 is very very good. 28-hour fitness is a big overperformer. Makes sense. The scaling's nerfed. Aurora Dome also freezes now. So one second. Does that no longer have shield? Interesting. So this thing now doesn't shield. It just is a freeze effect. Interesting. It's like a totally different item now. You already I feel like it's weird because you already need to have like a shield item on board, but maybe it's to support like new lines. I don't know. I'm not sure if I fully understand this, but it's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Were freeze builds too strong? That's weird to me. Beast of Burden, down a second makes sense. Jorts, nerfed makes sense. It's still busted. Cold Room, freeze duration to 1 to half a second. Okay, so I think I've been out of the loop on Pig, and I guess the freeze builds were overpowered, is what I'm seeing right now. But this seems like a pretty steep nerf. Cold Room to half a second. Crook. This is the change that I'm like most intrigued by and most scared of. Crook to bronze tier. We'll see about how that goes, because that could be kind of insane. It could be nothing, but I'm very scared about that. Igloo gets a nerf. Less freeze. I mean, I guess it's better at silver, but like kind of less freeze at all ranks. Cooldown stuff. Interesting. I guess it's I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. Look up Ointment, also nerfed. I mean, it's better at. It gives you a reason to upgrade it, I guess, which I think I like. In general, why would you ever upgrade Ointment? It would be like such a minimal amount of heal. Now you actually have a reason to upgrade it, which I think is good. There should always be a reason to upgrade your items. VIP pass no longer above stone value. I don't know. Does that change any loops or anything? That I couldn't tell you. Wrist Warrior, no longer attack. I also couldn't tell you if that changes anything. The damage is down and the scaling is down, and now hits an adjacent item only. Oh, good. So I wonder if that could hit. I think it could hit either adjacent item. I don't know. That's a good change though. Wrist Warrior was hella broken. Aviators. This is a cool change. Charge also triggers on destroy, so it's like you're walking away from explosions with the aviators. Boombot, the scaling goes down. At first, I was very confused about this, but my best guess is because with Boombot, it destroys itself, and now we have the repair mechanics. You can have a very high damage Boombot, restore it, and have it go off again. Box Cutter is basically like Stell's version of a Fang now. You do reduce damage in combat. You don't gain damage on level up. Disc is reverted, so now it's +5 at all ranks in terms of damage. Firebomb redesign, cooldown to 3. Higher burn, but it destroys itself. I feel like Firebomb is genuinely very good right now. Because if you get any amount of burn on it and you can repair it, it kind of goes infinite on itself. You know what I'm saying? Like it's very, very competitive amount of burn, and you just have to find a way to repair it. An Ice Bomb as well is gonna be really strong. Like 3-second freeze multiple items for a second is crazy. And you can repair it and haste it. It's gonna be very good. Flashbang as well as a redesign. So a lot of her ammo items went away, which is intriguing. Flashbang as well, though, it destroys itself. So these items, especially Flashbang, like, get worse on other heroes. Joystick. Joystick was one of her strongest items, and I feel like you always wanted to pick it up, especially because of how strong Parts Picker is. Making it start at silver makes sense. It's harder to find. And then also reduce the actual charge is also very good. Lava Roller now requires an adjacent item to be destroyed to double its burn. I feel like this looks like a nerf, and I guess it is, to be fair. However, the Lava Roller is still a very strong item, and the builds you run it in are just a little bit different now. Now you kind of run it, I believe, like with these bombs next to it. Like you'll run it with like fire bomb, ice bomb next to it, and then restore them and then destroy them again. So its lava roll is still very, very, very strong, but you can't run like the same combos you ran before. Airplane has a bronze tier item. So kind of the idea here is like Steam Washer hasn't seen play in a while. So like if you want like a vehicle kind of board, you run like Steam Washer and Airplane is kind of a cool thing going on. Precision calipers as well is like this is kind of a nice thing to help support like Machine Ball Blaster. So it starts at bronze tier, cooldown to 7, it repairs a small item, and it hates all your small items for X amount of seconds. So again, like this will be a nice buff to Machine Ball Blaster. Paper Airplane and like Steam Washer looks like it could be a build, that kind of thing. So Rocket Drone is redesigned. Rocket Drone is almost like old Firebomb now. So it's a 4-second cooldown, ammo to 1, does X amount of damage, does X amount of burn, and it stops flying. When it starts flying, reload it. It's really powerful, I've noticed. It's like Rocket Drone next to like a car or something, and you just keep flying it, and it'll stop flying, you keep like flying it. The burn is not nothing, and like it does a fair bit of damage. I don't this Rocket Drone thing is really appealing to me now. Sandbags gains additional effect when it's destroyed, it slows. I think it's reasonably thematic. Steam Hose, tone the base numbers down a little bit. Steam Hose is just still a very strong item. But just again, if you don't want to touch the scaling, touch the base numbers. Toolbox, 6-second cooldown, and it repairs and haste adjacent tools for 2 seconds. Makes sense. It's honestly maybe something you can run on your board now. And also, enchants now pass to spawn items. Wow. That's a very strong thing. If you get like an enchanted toolbox, enchant it with like, I'm just gonna, like shiny or whatever, you're gonna get shiny tools. Very good. Tugboat, also a very strong item. Reduce the slow duration. Makes sense. Vanessa, barrel. It's 6 seconds. The scaling is better at all ranks besides bronze, but now it scales from all items, which is cool. So we'll have to see that's better. Calico, a little bit underperformer, buff the damage by a little bit. Bug fix. Flagship can now scale multicast off relics as well, so I believe that means you can go up to 6 multi, which is really cool. So maybe flagship is a little bit better. Flame signal, 5, 10, 15. Flame signal is just a very strong item. The haste effect spam can be very, very powerful. So, you gotta find a way to nerf it, right? So just reduce it a little burn. Grappling hook, buff the damage a little bit, makes sense. Ray, give it a cooldown buff, makes sense. Especially like it's nice on Mantis Shrimp. Like those boards early, because like the Ray would give you a fair bit of slow procs. And sometimes like I feel like a little bit of slow here or there could really mess up the timing. So I don't know. Also in general, especially early game, 7 versus 8 seconds is a huge, huge deal. Because a lot of times I feel like you can get a 7-second item to go off twice, like day 2, day 3. It's sometimes it doesn't feel like you can get an 8-second item to go off twice. So I really believe in like that 7-second gap. In the same way I talk about an item giving haste for 1 second versus haste for 2 seconds, I feel the same way kind of about like 7-second cooldown versus 8-second cooldown. HUD starts at silver tier. I think that makes sense. It's just not really a bronze item. Like you can't really throw it on your bronze board. Additionally, sometimes the enchanted spalls you could get off it were kind of crazy. So I don't know if that's part of it. Javelin, when this is reloaded, it gains damage for the fight. Let's take a look at this. Javi. It's reloaded. Okay, cool. So that's interesting. So now Javelin actually scales. I don't know the best way to play this. It might be Javelin plus Ramrod or something like that, but it's interesting because Javelin notably has very high base damage. Like I would always pick up Javelin as something on like day 2 if I saw it at silver, because it just does 120 damage on a 5-second cooldown. It's like so much damage. But now it actually scales, so we'll have to see. It's very interesting. I mean, is it not just like rifle though? Feels very similar to rifle. Is it just worse than rifle? And rifle's not even that good. We'll see. We shall see. Pop snappers to 4 makes sense. It definitely felt like it fell off really hard. 3 ammo, still a very strong item, and you would buy it just about every time you saw it. But it's like did not feel good at 3 ammo. It felt like you needed 1 more ammo a lot of the time. Let's see. Port enchantment changes. Shark Ray. Cooldown buff. Base damage nerf. Scaling nerfs it later. This change is still like weird to me. I think the idea is like you make Shark Ray faster earlier, so it's a little bit stronger earlier. But it's like I don't know. Shark Ray wasn't like a great late game item. I don't know. This change I still is like a little vexing to me, but it's interesting. Like it's faster, But it's definitely, I don't know. It's interesting. Also, Loan Shark becomes even easier. Shoe Blade to 6 seconds. It does kind of mess up your timing with Shark Claws, but in general, like +1 second, I think is a good buff for it. Solving Primordial. Primordial's broken as hell. I think it's still broken as hell, but nerfing the damage by 5 at gold makes a lot of sense. Because a lot of times I felt like I would have Primordial day 6, day 7, day 8, and at gold, I would still just get it to go off one time. Plus, like with all the effects I was putting on them, they just kind of die. So now we get to see if that's still the case. Still a very strong item, but I think it did need some sort of nerf. It might even need more. And Zorset as well. It pains me, but that thing's base damage was so high, and it is such a strong effect on a like it has such a strong effect, and the base damage was so high. It makes sense to lower it. It pains me, but it does. All is quiet. Look at this. Look at this little snake guy on the island. Very interesting. We get another little teaser. Kind of following up from I believe, you know, is it here? There was a teaser last big patch too. Was there not? Am I crazy? There was. Oh, patch notes. There was a teaser in the past as well. So another teaser for who knows what. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. But it's cool. Let's go look at it again. There we go. So in general, thank you guys again for watching. I hope this was informative. I would say in general, like some new Stelle items, lots of minor hero changes. New expedition is cool. And yeah, I hope you. I'm gonna be streaming in a little bit. When this video goes live, it'll probably be like 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Maybe I'll be live at like 6:30 or something like that. I don't know. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys are all doing tremendously well. And I'll catch you next one.
Just trying to get this up, let's get out to the phone.